So you've found the perfect home. But high mortgage rates have you second-guessing. The Churchill Mortgage team says waiting to buy can be a costly mistake. Try their free 15-minute analysis to see the difference between buying now versus waiting for lower rates. Visit churchillmortgage.com to learn a smarter way to build wealth through home ownership. This is a paid advertisement. NMLS ID 1591. NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Equal housing lender. 1749 Mallory Lane, Suite 100, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027.
I am going back and just figuring out ways to make things work. Sometimes life gets in the way, and then you can either do it from scratch or you can sit there and you can worry about it. And I don't like making excuses. It's all about making results. And the best thing I can do is start again and do better. So I am. Welcome to the J-Man Show here on J360 Radio. Hey everybody, and welcome to the J-Man Show here on J360 Radio. Of course you know it's me, Jay. And finally back after all sorts of... I don't know what happened. I mean, 33 was pretty good, and it was a platform there for me to get ready for this episode, but then everything else happened. Apparently, the devil wasn't finished kicking my ass. I mean, maybe we could put it that way. But then again, I think we all kind of got the crap kicked out of us with all this stuff happening regarding hurricanes and old Donnie Boy losing his mind and going after the Dreamers now. But, we're going to do things a little different this episode. As a matter of fact, I'm not going after Trump today, because he's over here, he's trying to make himself look like a hero now. I mean, because of the relief help that he did, even though he went over to Texas and said, oh my God, what a great crowd. Talking about crowd size, I'm like, you mean the people that live over in Houston, Texas that just survived a natural disaster? You mean to tell me that that's a crowd? That's not a, you know what? I'm sure somebody else already handled it while I was on hiatus for a little bit. But still, though, it's like, we could have done better for 2016. Let's be real. You mean to tell me that nobody had better candidates than Hillary and Trump? You know what? I'm not even going to open that. I will say this much, though. While I was on hiatus, I was keeping an eye on everything else, and I took the time to look into getting the filmmaking division back. Everybody talks about how screenwriting is hard. I'm going to say this. Take the word hard out of the equation, all right? It's just tedious, and it's not something that you can finish in overnight unless you did a lot of research for your script. Just make the project plan, carve your characters out, or at least get the main plot line down, and then start taking a look at your main points and outlining them, and then write the scenes in between and just build it. I think sometimes we get caught up in other activities that we don't really focus on, like the main points of our writings. And, that happened with me too, but luckily with all this crazy stuff that has happened over the week and such, I think I can go ahead and create some credible stories out of it. So if inspiration comes in one way or another, even as we evolve as creatives with 4K filming, virtual reality filmmaking, I don't know if we still do we still do 3D filmmaking, or are they still trying to phase that out? As a matter of fact, I think James Cameron is the only one holding on to that with those aforementioned Avatar films. And then, when you really think about it, are they even going to get made now that I think about it? Maybe I'm going on a little bit of a bias there. Let me recheck myself and get back into what I was saying. No matter how many times filmmaking evolves, when you look back at those classic vintage films and you realize that they didn't have all the technological advances we have now, but they still managed to get quite a bit done. Sure, they probably had to deal with a lot of ribbing, but as I look into it, there were jump cuts, there were breakaways, and then there were times where the story didn't make any sense. And then, of course, the cool sound effects. Those films have a unique charm to them. And sometimes I think, even with my limited ability, I can make something similar to that. Now, granted, I'm going to have to go through all the rules and all the transgressions of all people and listen to the public saying, oh, we don't want that kind of work. We don't want that sort of thing to happen. Yeah, whatever. I'm still making a movie. And that goes for a lot of you out there that sit there and think that you need new equipment to get things done. See, right now, I really don't need any new equipment. I got what I need here. If I sound a little different, different on how I recorded the show tonight. It's because I'm using a whole different method. Because I need to start doing portable shows again. I only did one for you all, so bear in mind we're going to do a lot more of those as we move along here. But the thing is, you don't really need 2 new equipment just to get started. Get started now. While you're at it, don't just stick with Adobe and Apple software. You know what I mean? Like, try to look for all the other little software in between. Like, just don't stick with those top 2. Those are top tier, don't get me wrong. Actually, there's a third one too named Avid. And if you ever get in touch with Avid, it's not bad, but still, you want to check out all the different resources you can do. Now, luckily though, I have my whole Final Cut replaced. But the next thing I need to go ahead and get me a new music creator. Because I got the keyboard and I got the drum set around here and I'm ready to make some more music. It's been like years since I've done it. I've also written a posting on what does the public want. And truth be told, that is a question that will never, ever, I don't think it'll ever be answered. Because sometimes the public wants so many things and then after a while they're not really concrete about what they want. Now, if you ask somebody on the micro side of it, maybe they'll tell you and they know what they want. But when you look at people on the macro and the broad strokes and you ask them what they want, you're going to have so many different answers. And even then, the answers probably won't even make any sense. So some of us, we try to cater to what the people want, but then we forget. Sometimes the public just doesn't know and there's too much going on to the point where you just got to take your best shot. And I also have to do the Cyclone with Al and Dev again. And we have a lot to cover because football season's about to start in a big way. So I'm glad summer is over. At least the summer vacation part is over. We got till September 22nd to really say goodbye. So when you listen to everybody talking about their popular opinion saying, my summer is gone, my summer, oh my summer. Big deal. Summer goes away. I'm sorry you feel as though that summer is eternal and you have the nerve to want to keep it that way, but that's just not how it works. Get over yourself and be open to fall, winter, spring, because summer will be back after that. I'm ready to make room for 2018. I'm not ready to stay in 2017 any longer because, honestly, 2017, the whole movie run for 2017 was kind of, I don't know. Summer movies are kind of weak. The only movie that I was really excited for was Spider-Man Homecoming, and even then, I wanted Spider-Man Homecoming to be a little bit more. But I understand. The new way of filmmaking is that that's just how it had to go for that Marvel movie, even though I felt as though, I kind of wanted, I don't know, there's just something missing about that film. Maybe it's because I really like the Tobey Maguire films, or maybe it's because, Amazing Spider-Man 2 really had a lot more going. There's just something missing about that, and I'll probably touch base on it when I get the home release of it. Well, actually, that's not even on anybody's radar right now. A lot of people are mad about the Inhumans. But you know what? That's what you get for going to pay for an IMAX feature of the first 2 episodes. Just wait for the whole series run. And this is Marvel's fault, too, for doing that sort of thing. Because, if anything, the Inhumans should have been a proper movie anyway. And what makes it so ridiculous is that sometimes I sit there and I look at it and I'm like, okay, I'm not mad about the way they look. They have to look different than their comics are. Sometimes when we are fans, we kind of want our stuff to be as close to, if not the same as the comics as can be. And I've touched base on this in another episode. I know I did. But, you can't sit there and just want all of that stuff to be based on what you've read. I mean, for some people, they can get bored by that. Let it be a pragmatic adaptation. I did like Lockjaw's design, but the whole thing about that scenario is that I just want to see the end product. From time to time, we look at some of these production photos and we just say, oh, well, this looks like it's going to suck. Oh, this is horrible. I don't like the aesthetics. Well, that's where the reshoots come into play, and everybody complains about reshoots, too. I didn't really care for how they treated Medusa in that, by the way. Cutting of her hair, and all of a sudden she can't control her hair after it's cut. That kind of goes against the nature of the character in the comics. But then again, all of these MCU properties deviate from the ones that they're based on. So it's just something we all have to deal with. But I hope that series, because a lot of people weren't loving that series as it was getting made. So as it's getting premiered, the fact that the numbers are low, this isn't surprising. Thor's coming, so it really isn't anything to worry about regarding, too much of the Marvel properties. If anything, Marvel knows how to fix itself because the main movie properties. Was I disappointed about Spider-Man Homecoming? But luckily, though, the Defenders were coming, so that kind of cleans it up. And I sat there and enjoyed every episode of the Defenders. I thought it was pretty cool. Even with Elektra coming back, because that did happen, and, that whole subplot there. And then Danny got better as a character, so I'm ready to see what happens with Iron Fist Season 2. I'm ready to see what happens with Luke Cage Season 2. So everything is set up. And then I can't wait to see what happens in the Daredevil Born Again storyline that they're going to be basing Season 3 off of. So I'm excited about all of that. That's fine. Some of the Marvel shows that I see on ABC, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's okay. I didn't mind the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. Agent Carter, just as good. And then, of course, you have... I might be skipping on some of them. I know Cloak and Dagger's coming soon, but... See, these are too many shows for me to keep up with, so I gotta make sure I have the DVR set up so I can get some of these. What I'm saying is that sometimes there's just too many properties getting the treatment, and so as these properties get the treatment, you can't expect all of them to be winners. And that goes for the Inhumans. The Inhuman royal family, we're trying to get to know what's going on with these characters. You have Black Bolt and you have Maximus and their whole rivalry with each other. I want to see that. But I also know that whatever this story is going to be based on, it's going to be based on something that they're cooking up. And then sometimes we don't all like it, but we're going to have to learn how to deal with it. In the end, I think it should have just been a regular movie. But I'm not too worried about it. I just don't want to see the royal family go out in a hackneyed way. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when we saw Iron Fist coming into our lives and then the narrative was kind of off in that. And if anything, there is something missing. But Fox has the rights to it, and I don't like opening this can of worms any more than anybody else does. But I really do want the Fantastic Four back. I mean, come on. They're not doing anything with them. And believe it or not, the first movie is actually a guilty pleasure film of mine. Because I like the aesthetics. You know what I mean? It was lacking in terms of plot. There were times that I really didn't care for Reed Richards holding them all under quarantine, even though that did happen in the comic. But the thing is, they also try to help each other more and use the powers for good. But, you try to go ahead and say, hey, maybe we can be superheroes and try to make that come across as serious as possible without somebody laughing about it. Even though, Johnny was giving them the idea of doing it. The narrative had problems, but, it could have been a lot better. And then the whole thing with, Doctor Doom's storyline in those movies, meh. 2005 was a bad time for films anyway. Not like this time for films has been any better. Well, I don't know. War of the Planet of the Apes was pretty good. Let's see. Kong came out this year, and that one was... Yeah, Kong was great. I hope the man who directed that movie got over himself a little bit, because I can understand that CinemaSins has a lot of people in a tivy, but the thing about it is CinemaSins is much like a joke channel than anything, right? I mean, they always nitpick. You're going to have those kind of people who nitpick your work. You gotta learn how to take it. And you see, the thing about it is, all of us, because we didn't direct this film, right? Some of us, we picked the wrong sides in an argument. Or we picked the sides of the argument where it seemed like the big establishment is calling out the little establishment. And then we don't know which side to go on. But we're naturally going to go on the little side because the little side is the one that's over there that doesn't have all the resources as the big side does. He makes more money than me. You know what I mean? We should look to them and say that they're innocent so we can go against the establishment. Some of us do that stuff because... Well, that's pretty much what our media and pretty much what the things that we read or look into are all about. The little guys standing up to the big guys. And the thing about it is, you look at CinemaSins, you try to think of them as a little guy, but you look over at the director of the King Kong movie and you're like, oh, well, they're just stating their piece. Why are you such a dick? Yeah, man, screw you. Blah, 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 blah. That's how it goes sometimes. But you see, the thing about it is, the guy probably went through a lot of hell to make that movie. And these people over here that had no idea of what the process that he went through are sitting over there and they're just mocking him. Everybody gets mocked. I'm sure eventually people have been mocking J360 Radio because of the lack of episodes we put up. Or there's some people out there who probably mock us because of gameplay skills or any sort of thing. I mean, it happened. But it all depends on who can take it and who can't. And just by looking at that, I can understand what the guy was saying. But I also look over at CinemaSins and I'm laughing because those guys are assholes. And God bless them. But you see, if they were really going after this man, it's kind of like how everybody was going after Joss Whedon on Age of Ultron. And depending on how you look at it, I think Age of Ultron is an okay movie. I just don't think it was as good as the first one, but it didn't need to be because it was a different movie and it was the continuation. Writing a sequel is not easy to do. Believe me, sometimes I'm not interested in writing sequels to stories that I finish. Because that story arc, to me, is done, even though I left it open. But sometimes, you don't necessarily have to do a trilogy with the same set of people, and you can do it with a whole different group of people. You can go ahead and find another subsection, just keep it in the same location if you want to. There are ways to get around that sort of scenario. But when you have like sequel fatigue, or you have a franchise cash cow that's going through decay, like the Spider-Man series, for instance, it gets kind of hard. But you try to look at the wealth of characters, and you try to look at how to keep that stuff fresh. And at least with the whole King Kong scenario going on over here, he just it might have been a very hectic project for him to do. He's not ready to look back on it and laugh. It's kind of like how certain directors, they make certain movies, and then you see like the franchise zombies showing up, because face it, Star Wars is never going to be in trouble. Now I know you all are going to say, well, what about episode 9? What about episode 9? Yeah, I'm not talking about the main episodes. I'm talking about the fact that there are sub-stories involved in Star Wars, because Rogue One did such a good job. And I do know episode 9 just lost its director, but episode 9 has been going through a lot of problems. And the thing is, I don't see where the light source is, you know what I mean? Other than maybe, whatever. But then again, you know what? Don't really know what the story is yet, because episode 8 isn't out. So, I have to wait and see how that develops. But I would have loved it if we'd take a good look at certain stories like Shadows of the Empire and made that into a sub-story movie. That would be fine. But say like if somebody is developing a property all their own, and they want that to go up there, and then they see something that's a Marvel or a Star Wars property, and they'll be like this, well, damn, I guess I done lost then, because, you see what I'm saying? And then you'll probably have somebody like CinemaSins come up there, and they'll mock you and stuff like that. I would love to see a CinemaSins thing mock one of my big budget films. This is what I would do, right? I would sit there and join in with them. If you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at? If it gets to the point where it's like they mock this whole thing and it was like a bad day of filming, I can see myself saying, well, hey, this is what happened on that day. It would be better if you would know the facts before you went into it. See, it's little things like that. But if you're going to go ahead and make fun of it in broad strokes, and you're going to go ahead down, well, then again, this is CinemaSins, right? So there is no broad strokes. So you got to go down to the littlest details and stuff and pick things about. It really depends. But I'm not going to go ahead and say, well, you guys are fucking ass clones. You don't know what the hell, blah, 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 blah. The hell with you, you know what I'm saying? You don't know movies and all that stuff like that. Nah, let the people speak, but understand when people speak, they don't have all the facts anyway. They just piece things together, and then they say what they want to say. Now, there's only one way you can defend that thing. And as we all know, arguments on the internet sometimes, you just can't win them. So that's how that goes. I'm just hoping that the guy continues to direct more movies. And I hope that when we have Godzilla vs. Kong, everything checks out. Because 2020 is on the rise, and hell, I'm ready for the next Godzilla film to come into play. And, I really want episode 9 to do better. I mean, I don't think it's going to be that bad of a film, considering the circumstances. But, it's just, a lot of things have been happening with that. And I also know the Han Solo movie and their issues, like Kathleen Kennedy is not on anybody's good list right now. But creative differences happen a lot. And I know I'm flip-flopping back and forth on things, but what I'm saying is that sometimes that line of connectives between the production companies and the viewer base, it can be really shaky at best. And then there are times where, they have a problem when you talk badly about their film. And you're going to have people get testy about it. Hell, you got people who get testy about YouTube videos. And which, by the way, YouTube, I know I have a new YouTube channel on there, and I know they could take it away at any time, but I'm going to say it. YouTube need to get the hell over itself. Or its parent company, I should say. Right now, they're rolling around in about as much shit as Donald Trump is. It's like diversity is an evil word for them. And now the whole Admageddon thing that has happened, and now there's even more crap coming on from it. And this time, rather than just standing up and saying to the advertisers that, hey, some of this stuff that you're doing isn't exactly feasible, they're taking it out on their creator base by saying, oh, this doesn't meet the criteria of monetization. And it's like, well, we're thinking on the people who can't handle certain things. We're thinking about the people who come here to be entertained. We're thinking about the people that come here, to listen to good things. And it's like, well, what is good things and what are bad things anymore? I mean, do you want to lull them into a safe zone? Are you trying to make YouTube into a giant safe space for people? You're on the internet. You're a website on the internet. You're just like Facebook. You're just like Twitter to a point, because Twitter has Periscope. You have all of these things. You are a part of this nuclei of things that people use on the internet. And you mean to tell me that you're trying to make a giant safe space by just saying, no, we're going to get rid of monetization on this. We're going to blacklist this channel. We're going to go ahead and do all of these ways of stopping content from being harassment. Well, honestly, that's just as bad as writing rules that you can never enforce. Like I said, passing stupid rules is what causes more strife. YouTube has always been a bit of a Wild West show. That one episode that you made might not get a lot of views, but the next episode you make may get more. And then that third episode you make might break even, and then that fourth episode you make might break you into a whole different bracket of subscribers. But then you also have people out here whose number of subscribers aren't necessarily real people. You have people who pay for a bot package where they look successful. You have people who do sub for sub. I guess some of us are guilty of that. I have some friends on YouTube, and since there is no add friends spot on YouTube, they end up becoming subscribers, and I subscribe to them. But they make great content, so they earn my subscription. So you know what that means. And we make pretty good content too. That's why we have followers. If anything, I grew our SoundCloud a lot more than I grew our YouTube. And let me be honest about that. It's because some of the things that I cover, YouTube wouldn't mind gonging or just saying, hey, you know what? You're covering all this, we'll blacklist you. See, I talk about stuff that goes on in the world. The eventual brink of war, or what happened in history, or mythological stories that are not G-rated. But looking into it, that's not feasible. That's just as bad as trying to do what the bad guy off of Brave New World tried to do. You're trying to lull people into a state of bliss where at the same time, you're adding a blinder to what's really going on in the world. That's not good. You got to keep one foot planted in reality, and you got to keep the other foot planted in bliss. Okay? Like, I love the idea of nothing to worry about, complete happiness, a state of benign. When reality comes in, which like last week did when I wasn't putting up any content, was unable to, that made me realize how real things are. And then like at the end of the day, I can't sit there and whine about it. I gotta run through the storm just like I gotta run through daylight. So it goes like this. By doing that kind of thing, you're actually hurting people, because when adversity comes into play, can they handle it? Can they stand up for themselves? Can they make it through tough times and horrible people? Like, the whole comment section is full of trolls. Yes, they are. But let me tell you this, if you're not being mocked or made fun of, you're not making headway anywhere. When people do that kind of stuff, you're a success because there's something about you they don't have, and they figure this is the way they can get to you. It's just basic psychology. Most time they mock you because they're jealous of you. And when it gets right down to it, some people don't understand it. Or there's something there where okay, somebody was mocking my channel because we don't have views, but we get a lot of downloads and listens on other networks. Because YouTube is not the center of J360. It never was. Hell, I think even the WordPress has more followers than YouTube does. But to be real about it, if I was really into YouTube though, and if I was really striving to build that channel up and everything else, maybe it'd be a little different. But it's not. What I'm saying is that by going about here namby-pambying and babying people, grown people I might add, those that sit there with their channels like, please don't make fun of me. And it's like, they're going to make fun of you more now that you said this. They're going to say more stuff about you regardless. If you're a model that's out there showing off your body and knowing that your body type will always have detractors to it, like you got skinny girls that go through it, you got big beautiful women that go through it, and you got the people that are curvy going through it, and then you got the ones in between going through it. They're always going to be out there making fun of you. And I don't understand why grown people just now have to understand is not everybody's going to like you. To be honest with you, not everybody likes me. Matter of fact, I think I'm so used to pissing off people, I don't know if I have people that actually like or respect me or not. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, I'm not worried about it. And you know why I always say that? Because the 1/10 I'm usually asleep. You gotta stop worrying about things like that you have no control over. You can't control what other people say. And like when you look at certain people that have fans and they're mad because you're a rising star in the game and they're saying, you should never compete with him. You shouldn't do any of this stuff. You know, this is all about him. This is his racket. This is all... Hold up now. It would be different if I used his content and not give him credit for it. But because I start using the resources I have here to build my own, that shouldn't be any sort of shame to him. And this guy doesn't inspire me. I'm over here doing my own thing. And when you're doing your own thing, it makes a world of difference. But at the end of the day, understand that YouTube's not going to stop harassment this way. As a matter of fact, a lot of people, if they're crazy enough to do so, they'll go to a whole nother channel. There's more video share channels out there that would be happy to take YouTube's place. Lord knows Dailymotion would. That's about all I have for you right now. I'm trying to get back in the swing of things here, and I'm trying to get some more episodes in so I can reach level 40 before the 1-year anniversary of this show shows up. It's going to happen in November. Outside of all that, thanks all of you for listening, and be prepared for the cyclone coming later this week. But I hope you all take care of yourselves. This is Jay, signing off.
A change of seasons means adventures in rain, shine, mist, or snow, or all of the above on the same day. This season, prepare for every season with the Allbirds Mizzle Collection. With all-condition traction and materials and features to keep you comfy and dry no matter what, you'll be ready for anything. Go to allbirds.com and use code FRESHSOCKS for a free pair of socks with your purchase. ALLBIRDS.com, code FRESHSOCKS.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.